most rappers are not rich.
No, they're not.
Most rappers are not rich.
Speak on it then.
So like the chains and all that stuff is just given to them, right?
Breaking news.
Breaking news for the people out there. Because
you can rent a
it's
chain.
you can rent chains,
pay
cars, and in real estate, like you can't hide nothing from us. We know who got money.
Exactly.
Hey everyone, I'm Melanie Eke, and you are watching Life Lessons on NCRF TV. And we got my girl here.
Hi, I'm Kolbi-Rae, and I'm here with our wonderful guests. We have Christian Pace, entrepreneur and real estate broker. And we also have Malachi Scott here, a college basketball athlete and actor.
He's also an artist too. Malachi does it all.
Yeah. We're super excited to have you guys.
Thank you
Thank you for
Happy
having
to be here. Happy to be here.
We appreciate it.
And I'm not sure if you could notice, but we're going to call it out for you. We have a very strategic guest flow here today. We have people from different generations because we are talking about the American dream and what the new American dream looks like. And in order to do that, we felt like we needed to get some people of different age groups because I know it could be a little different depending on when you were born and what lifestyle you've been living. So you have here true millennial. I guess I'll call myself a true millennial. You've got Kolbi-Rae as a...
I am a older Gen Z.
An older Gen Z is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, we probably should have went in order, actually, because we got a late millennial over here, right?
Got it, yeah.
A late millennial.
A late millennial.
And then we got a true Gen Z.
Yeah, true Gen Z, man. 04.
Oh, 04, like, born?
Yeah.
Oh, that's close to when I graduated high school. Oh, shoot.
Oh,
I shouldn't tell you my age. Darn. Okay, so today's show is all about the American dream, but we're really talking about how that dream has changed and what it means for people in today's generation. So that's millennials, that's Gen Z, and beyond. What is beyond Gen Z?
I don't know.
Whatever that new generation is, Gen X,
Gen X?
or whoever they are.
Is that
This
it?
is for you. Well, Gen X is before Gen
Oh, yeah.
Y.
Is it
that
like
is
alpha
Gen
or
X.
something?
Millennials are technically Gen Y.
Alpha.
Something like that? I don't even know.
Man, I don't
Okay.
know.
The kids. That's all.
After millennials, I just stopped caring.
The
Really.
kids. Okay, so to talk about the new American dream, we kind of have to talk about the American dream, right? So once upon a time, there was this vision that you get a house, you find a mate, you get married, you have children, settle down, and build a family legacy. But somehow it feels like some of the young people today aren't feeling like that's really in their cards for them. And is that really just due to the difference in lifestyles, opinions, growing up, and what we want out of our lives? Or is there something deeper here? So I have something I want to read to you, or just something I want to put here for just to start our conversation. According to Investopedia, $3.4 million is what the new American dream costs. Okay?
That's crazy.
But just to set the stage here, $3.4 million, okay, to live a comfortable lifestyle with all of those things that I talked about. So my question to you guys as we get started is, what does a comfortable lifestyle mean to you?
Man.
I'm almost curious to hear what you got to say. So I'm all ears.
To me, honestly, feeling like, how the world is changing, I just feel like you got to just be comfortable doing what you want, like knowing that you have like your certain goals in life, your certain occupation that you want to do. As long as you're comfortable with that and knowing like you're comfortable of going outside of that and not having to worry about paying bills. Oh, as long as this stuff is set up, then I don't have to worry about where my next paycheck, and I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. I feel like that's a comfortable lifestyle to me.
Okay.
That's
Not living
pretty-
paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But then the question becomes is like, God forbid, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if you lose something? And like you're not living necessarily paycheck to paycheck, but you don't have that $3.4 million.
Because the cushion.
Then what?
I mean, honestly, right now, it just really depends where you live. If you're in California, you're going to be paying a lot. Whatever your lifestyle is in California, it's not going to be where you live, like in Ohio or like Texas. Because I know like out here, probably a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, probably going for like $5 grand just for like something. But if you go to Texas, you'll pay like $1,000 or something like for a nice apartment.
It's a really good point you make because we are in California, just to put this in perspective. So we have to think about...
Well, I am by way of so many places. My mom moved to Texas. I'm from California, and I live in New York. And when I tell you that all three of the rents that we've had to pay like throughout the years, they're all very similar. They just look a little different. So that is...
I mean, but you're also going from big city to big city.
Yeah.
Right, but Texas is like, everybody's like, oh, Texas. And it's like, my mom is paying the same amount in Texas as she almost did in LA.
And it's crazy. It's crazy that you say that, because a lot of people, like a lot of our clients recently have been moving from like California to Texas or something like that. And Texas, their property taxes are usually higher than here in California. So you can get a property that's like less, you know, in list price than California, but you could essentially be paying the same or more. And then once you move out of California, you gone. Right. You're really not coming back.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
Because the moving itself, the moving costs.
And not only that, it's like, okay, if you bought a property at $500,000 in 2020 and it's worth $800,000 a day, and you sell, you know, and buy cash in Texas, if you don't have, like Melanie said, right, that super cushion of the $3 million plus, you just can't afford to come back to California.
Right.
So if you move to Texas and stay for 5 years and you hate it there, you're almost stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like different, especially because it's like everywhere is like kind of expensive now, unless you're literally going to like probably freaking Iowa or something, like somewhere that is like.
Shout out to Iowa. Shout out to Iowa, by the way. Just
sorry, those in Iowa. I don't know if y'all really got stuff out there, but I hope you do. But you're just the first one that came to my mind. But
Iowa catching a riff right now.
Right.
But if you're going to one of the like say more like major states, as in like a Florida, a Texas,
right,
Chicago even, Colorado, like the prices might be very similar. It just looks different. So I think that is like what everybody has to think about, which is the reality check that I got, that like when my mom moved to Texas, she just moved for like vibes. She was like, oh, my children I'm an empty nester. So let me like try a new state that like might be cheaper. Like now she's like, oh, I'm only a little more comfortable than I would be in LA.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like I can't leave California. I feel like California got like everything I have, like everything I need to like be successful.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's just so much networks out here in just California, where if you go somewhere else like in Texas, or like you move to like Ohio or something like that, you're not gonna have like the same like mobility.
I mean, yeah, because you can say that California has everything you need to be successful, but you know, only a handful of people are able to access that success. And a lot of people in California are struggling, which is why a lot of people are moving out of California too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I think, me personally, I agree with what you said, like in the scope of everything. But I also think you could be successful anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just the mindset. Like, you could put somebody who's hungry in California and they move to Iowa, they're not going to be less hungry. They're just going to be in Iowa.
Yeah.
And
it's also about your priorities, like what you care about having to be comfortable. So like you're from California, so for you to be comfortable, like you want to be able to have a car, you want to be able to have money to go do things, because there's lots of stuff to do. Like so comfortability is like very relative, especially to like the state you live in.
Right.
So that is where it's like a little different, because some people comfortable means like I just want to go out to dinner twice a week.
Right.
And pay, and like that's all I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And like aside from my bills, so it's just different.
I agree. And Melanie and I were kind of talking about that a little bit before, like the show aired. Right. We just talked about more so like what comfortable looks like for everybody.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be different just with everybody, just based on people's lifestyle.
100%.
So like, what's your idea of comfortable?
Me?
Yeah.
Because we already heard Malachi's.
I mean, that's a crazy question. People ask me that all the time, like, and this may sound crazy, but I don't think I'll ever be comfortable. Not necessarily saying like I'm not grateful. So let me clarify that. Like, not that I won't be grateful for what I have, but I think like once you become in some way comfortable, then that's where you just lose hunger, and then you just kind of like spinning through life, you know, you just kind
I
of
was
dwelling
get
away
that.
type of thing.
I'm just gonna get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
Well, I mean, at some point though, you want to be fulfilled, right? So I guess the question then is, you know, fulfilled versus comfort. And I'm actually, this is a good segue into my next question, because you are married, right? And so when we think back on these traditional parts of the American dream, right? Marriage, kids, family, etc. All of these things cost so much money.
Right.
And I have another stat for you here from NerdWallet. More and more millennials are actually opting out of having kids. And they're citing that it's because kids are too expensive. So it's not even that, oh, we just don't see that for our futures anymore.
Right.
This is just not a cost I feel like I can handle. So the question really is for you, when you start thinking about these different pieces, do you feel like maybe I can have this, but maybe I'm gonna opt out of this to, you know? But I mean, you said you're always going to be striving, so I guess you're not going to opt out of anything.
Yeah.
But the question is really, but does it become hard to weigh those different things? You know.
All right, so I just want to make sure I'm answering you correctly. So like, are you talking about like in terms of like after having children?
No, I'm saying like when you start the journey, and which is why you guys can answer this question as well. When you start the journey, and say you really do in an ideal world want to have a family, and you want to have kids, and you want to have a nice car, and you want to have a nice house. Right. When you start looking at realistically how much that's going to cost you in today's society, do you feel like some things might have to be, you know, take the back seat?
I think that's a good question.
Let's listen to it from the dad's perspective right now. With somebody that's already there, because that interests me as well, because I'm like, when she talked about the traditional lifestyle and everything, like you said, you had a kid, you know, pretty young, like pretty my age probably, literally my age. Yeah. How was you like? How did you go into that? Like,
I mean, that's a good question. I like both of y'all questions a lot. So I think in two parts to answer your question. I think that I don't know if it necessarily has to take a back seat depending on the and maybe. I mean, like, just for something to take a back seat doesn't mean that you'll never accomplish it. It may just take a little bit longer than what you anticipated. So, you know, like you talked about earlier, everybody has goals. So I think that, you know, having a goal and you say, you know, I want to accomplish this in the next 2 years, it may turn into year 5, right? But the time is going to pass anyway. So it doesn't mean that you'll never have it. But to answer your question, I mean, yeah, I was literally 19. My birthday is March 24th. And mine's
March 13th.
Oh, it is?
Wow.
So
Look at that.
you're Aries?
Pisces,
oh, you're a Pisces, like on the cusp? Oh, that's cool.
You on the edge. You got to Aries.
Yeah, I'm an Aries. But my son's birthday is March 29th.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So he literally was born 5 days after my 20th birthday. So if he would have came a week early, I would have been 19. Yeah. So, I mean, at that time, I was still living with my parents. Okay. So it was a crazy time because I got my license at 21. So I was working. I had my son. I actually had 2 jobs and was going to school. My parents helped out a lot too. But then I think it was a blessing for me because it pushed me to be like, okay, I can't be comfortable with this. Like, I gotta really provide now, and the maturity level is just night and day difference. Like me being 19, then turning 20. Like, whatever my friends was doing, it was just I couldn't do that no more. Like, oh, we're going out tonight. It was just a 360 whole change. So I think that was the biggest changing factor for me to know what I wanted, and certain things that could have taken a back seat, like me being serious in life and having my goals, you know, that got reconstructed. I had to put that in the front. And to answer your question, it was tough, bro, but you know.
Yeah, see me, like, what I was saying was I feel like the traditional lifestyle, like I wanna go back to that old traditional lifestyle.
So you want the things in the original American.
I mean, I feel like right now how social media and like the whole society as a whole is just going backwards for me. Like, I feel like everybody's just going straight away from it, taking like a whole different turn. Like, for me, like one of my biggest dreams when I was a kid, because growing up, I was in a foster care system, you know, different stuff like that. I went through a lot of problems, like not having a family. So me just, you know, right now, me traditionally, I just like, I want to be able to be that guy that sets a new like example to my friends, to my kids as well, so they can know, like, you know, you can find love. You don't have to go look for, you know, having a lot of girlfriends or boyfriends, you know, being that little stigma of like what the world is going to be, more of just coming down where I have, you know, just me me having the kids, being with that one lady for the rest of my life, being able to be married and be able to look back when I'm younger, like, I mean, when I'm older, like, when I'm in my 80s, 90s, look back and just tell my kids, like, you feel me, like, y'all could do it too. Like, y'all don't have to go and look around for people. Just wait for that, you know, y'all soulmate. And I feel like, you know, if you want to go that lifestyle and be the traditional, I feel like if you want it, you strive for it, and you really believe it's going to happen, I feel like God's going to reward you. And I feel like that's just the biggest, you know, the biggest goal in life.
I was gonna ask you what keeps you from being discouraged, because if you notice, this is the youngest person, you know, on this set here, and you are literally saying that you still want the traditional American dream. So what keeps you from being discouraged? Is it your faith?
I mean, yeah, it's just faith every day. You know, I went through the problems where, I don't know if y'all saw the first episode I was in, but you know, I did get cheated on before. You know, I went through a whole time where I was like, love not real. You know, it's not gonna happen for me. But you know, just me resetting my mind, really just getting closer to myself on my spiritual journey, and just really figuring it out. Like, you don't have to just be like everybody else. If you really believe in something, it's gonna happen. And you just got to be, you know, have your mind set on something.
I agree with that.
I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
I
with
think
that 100%.
also traditionalism, like, might be a little lost because of just outside factors.
Yeah.
Like us, like social media, like the economy.
1,000%.
Like just the new way, like the new version of gender roles. Like there's a lot of things in traditionalism that are like different. Like there's a lot of factors that affect traditionalism, which I think that's why people nowadays might have the extreme opposite view.
No, 1,000%.
When at the end of the day, like you're just the way that you want your life to be comfortably, like your American dream could be rooted in traditionalism, and then you can make it work for you. And I think that's what people don't, maybe older generations or just like different types of people don't understand, is that there could be a middle ground where like everything like comes together. Yeah. Because people are like, oh, traditionalism is lost. Yeah. And it's like, kinda, but kinda, it doesn't have to be. It's kinda not. You know, traditionalism could just be reformed.
Right.
Like,
and I agree.
You know what? I think that's a perfect segue into our next topic. Unless you had a final thought.
Real quick, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I think, and is it like? I mean, I question it a lot too. Like, is traditionalism really gone, or is it just not publicized?
I feel like, going back to what you're saying, I feel like it's just not publicized. I just feel like people nowadays just don't want it. Yeah. People nowadays see it, how the world is going, how society is going, and they just don't push for it. They're just like, I'd rather just, you know, live my life. But, you know, it goes back to just whatever you want in life, you just do it. Like,
see, that's funny because on my algorithm, because at the end of the day, it's our algorithms that make us think what reality is,
and they control what you what they want.
My algorithm is full of a bunch of people that like a bunch of women being like, I don't really want to work. I'm gonna work until my husband tells me not to, and then I'll stay in the house. Like, I've seen a bunch of that.
But it's coming from a different place. So I think, once again, great segue into our next topic. So, all right,
let's get to the next one.
Let's talk about career and the road to success and what work life looks like. Because I think that's one area that, depending on your age group, it can be seen completely different. You know, for me, for example, my parents really kind of instilled the traditional, you go to school, you know, you get your degree, you get a job, you retire at that job. Yeah. Nobody's retiring at the same job anymore, right? That's not even a thing anymore. And furthermore, I've been reading a lot more now about how young people are aspiring more towards entrepreneurship. Yeah. So let's just kind of talk about where we are getting our ideals of success, what that looks like, those sort of things. I mean, in career.
Well, just to start off, everybody's went to college, right? Everybody's or currently in college?
No, I didn't go to college.
Yeah, see, okay. Mm-mm. Have you went to college? Yeah, all right. So with that is, you know, I think right now, how social media and like the whole world is going, we have way more opportunities with stuff. Like it's not really just broken down to the point where, all right, you have to go to college. If you want to be a doctor, you have to be here for 7 years. You have to get your bachelor's. You have to get that. You know, nowadays, you feel me? Like nowadays, people with their bachelors and like their masters can't even find a job because there's so many people with jobs. Yeah. Now they're just looking like they're getting like low budget jobs because now there's no openings because everybody's like, all right, we have to do that. So that's when a lot of people go to where real estate or they go to like digital marketing, you know, different fields like that. So I feel like nowadays, you know, me being a basketball player, you have to be able to handle college. You have to be able to all right, I got a school,
Mm-hmm.
I got basketball practice, I got this workout, then I got to do my homework and have this assignment done, then I got to do that. I just feel like nowadays, if you can't handle college, just don't go.
Yeah.
You got to find where you're comfortable at. Find
Right.
where your goal is.
Right.
Find where you're comfortable.
And I agree. I mean, like, not that we obviously discouraging college.
Yeah, no,
Like,
1,000%.
if somebody wants to go to
1,000%.
college,
Well, this is the National College Resources Foundation
Yeah.
presenting this
that was-
this
yeah,
podcast. So
yeah,
we have
yeah,
to
so-
make that very clear.
Yeah, not that we discourage in college, but I do agree with you. I feel like, I mean, my friends and I talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, it's inevitable. Like,
Yeah.
you got to go to college.
Exactly.
And
Okay,
a lot of other career
But
fields.
here's the thing. I think this is the distinction that we need to make, though, being in CRF, that it's not necessarily even college. Over 90% of the jobs that people be going into require some sort of education.
Right.
So that education can look differently.
Right.
You had to get educated to be in real estate, right?
Right.
You had
Right.
to learn certain things, right?
Right.
So that's the thing. I think it's education.
Yeah,
is the
like trade
key.
schools and stuff.
Yes.
And I think that's a great point. I
You
was
should
going to
always
say
be
that.
seeking knowledge.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I mean, there's a lot of educated people that necessarily didn't go to college.
Yeah,
Right.
1,000%.
You know. So,
But
I
it is
mean-
hard. You mentioned like the job market.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of videos of people graduating around the same time I did, and I was one of those people. People applying to like 700 jobs.
yeah.
They have a degree. They have internships under their belt. They have work experience. No, just no. Like
Yeah.
nobody's hiring, or they're
Yeah.
putting up fake jobs to like reach a quota.
Right,
Like
right.
there's a lot of like issues with job hunting right now. The job market is so bad right
Right.
now,
Yeah.
which also affects people's American dream. That can be very discouraging. It's like I want to buy a house. Like
Yeah.
eventually, like that is something that I want to do. But like the way that the job market is right now, it's like I know people in the field that I want to be in that make a ton of money, but like they got a job like right out of COVID when like they were really needed, and now it's like there's so many jobs that are taken, or there's so many jobs that it's like you can't get something, and then that pushes your goals back, and it makes you have to reimagine.
Right.
So speaking from the true millennial standpoint, since I am the only one, I think I gotta speak on this, is I think with our generation is where that shift started, really, because we graduated right during the recession in 2008, 2009 from college, around that time period. So I was that person who did everything I was supposed to do. I went to college right out of high school, did it in 4 years, got 3 internships with major companies throughout those 4 years. And when I was about to come out, the world changed. There were no jobs. Everybody was laid off. Kind of similar to what you guys went through with COVID, actually. But it was the moment that I realized that entry-level role that was supposed to be reserved for me for doing everything that society says I'm supposed to do was not there. And so I think we had to pivot. And I think I now see that continuing with all the other generations.
Because it's happening now. There's so many companies doing layoffs, especially in different industries right now. So it's like, it's kind of, history always repeats itself. So like,
That's true. Because I was saying that, I was like, well, actually, I guess that's what you guys went through with COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people too, like, even if we talked about people not retiring, right? Like, somebody could be incredibly loyal, a great worker, work at a job for 28, 30 years and still get laid off.
Yeah, 1,000%.
So you're not safe necessarily
No,
unless
nobody's safe.
unless you own the entire company
Yeah.
and you're making all the decisions. But then that kind of goes into the fact that a lot of like millennials like ourselves, or what are you guys considered again?
Gen Z.
Gen
Gen
Z.
Z.
No
Gen Z.
shade, I'm serious.
Gen Z.
But yeah, like Gen Z, right? You hear a lot of people say like, "Oh, I want to start my own business," or "I want to be an entrepreneur." And I'm not saying that like you shouldn't. I think that everybody has dreams, but I think that if there's 100 people and 99 people want to be entrepreneurs, it's just an imbalance.
Right.
Like not everybody's made to be a boss or a decision maker or entrepreneur.
1,000%.
Like there has to be people that work jobs, work trades. Because if everybody wants to be a business owner, then it's like, where the plumbers at?
Yeah.
Where the electricians? So I think that all of these trades are necessary. And, I think people should take advantage of that.
Yeah. With that, man, I just feel like, I feel like college is a big thing you should always want to go to. 'Cause I feel like besides college and the schoolwork and, you doing what you're doing after your college. I just feel like once you go into college, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot mentally, like how you handle things. You learn how to build like friendships with people that you don't know. Because if you go out of state, you're like going to a whole different environment that you got to be able to survive in regardless.
Right.
You got to be able to do your work. You got to be able to go mentally. And then college also brings a lot of networking skills. Because now while you're in college, you got to set yourself up for when you're done now. So now you got to be like, all right, I got to network with this person. I got to find out who this person is. I got to be able to set myself up so by the time I get out, I'm not worried about like, all right, what job am I going to get? What am I going to do?
But even like that, sometimes it's just like hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I agree.
Like the American dream, like is right now shifted completely. Not that in like within everyday people, it's just like you have no choice but to reimagine it because like an entry level job is if you're not in like tech or like you're a doctor or not an entrepreneur, but like doctor, lawyer, stuff like that, you're making entry level $50,000 a year. And the article said you need $3.8 million.
You got to get a bunch of jobs.
But there's
Can you hire me 17 times, please?
Literally, and some people they're like, oh, because like along in a more detailed version of the American dream, it's like, oh, a lot of people like, especially if they meet their person in college, like they want to get married right out of college. But it's like you're not gonna get married with a $50,000 a year
at all.
Like the salary. That's not happening. You can't afford that. So that is why it's like different, and that's why like we ask you guys like, what do you think you're a millennial, so you might have a different perspective, and you're an entrepreneur, so you also like had a little more. You had to like you were a hustler, and you definitely like made your way to where you are now in a less corporate way, because a lot of Gen Z is like going corporate because there's like benefits in corporate that you might not get being an entrepreneur.
I guess I saw it differently. I feel like a lot of Gen Z is trying to be entrepreneurs.
It's either you're trying to be an entrepreneur or you're corporate, because because now with like DE&I and stuff like that, corporate, they have to give you work-life balance. They have to give you enough vacation days. They have to give you a retirement plan. Like the corporate structure, and a lot of it is like now you can work hybrid. You can work remote. And like that all looks different. So it's like I just being in the Gen Z environment, like half of the people that I knew wanted to be entrepreneurs and they wanted to start their own business, or they wanted to be at the most corporate company ever because I think Gen Z is like manipulating the like you're just another part of the machine because you can get away with living your own life if you're just a little bit part of the machine.
Okay, so now they're just using the machine is what you're saying. Got it. Okay, but let me ask you something. I need to ask somebody in Gen Z this. What's up with the work ethic?
I don't think, okay, you know what? I am not a guest. I am a host, but I have a lot to say about this.
I'm only
because another part of the American dream was you work hard, you start from the bottom, and you work your way up. So I don't know where all of this.
Or I can start.
Go ahead, start where you.
I got some. You feel me?
You go. Go ahead.
All right. One thing I'll say is, I mean, nowadays I just think like a lot of kids don't want to work. Like me coming, like I came from nothing, so like me being where I'm at, I had to work for it, and I just feel like you can't just hold yourself to one thing nowadays. Cause I feel like there's so much opportunities in the world that if you just hold yourself to one thing and you're not like the best at it, or not like I'm killing it right in something like that. For instance, like, oh, I'm just a basketball player. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to push, but you got to know when to stop. Like a lot of people don't know when to stop or like when to figure out what they're gonna do, and then when it gets too late, now they're looking for what am I gonna do next in my life, and then now so I just feel like keep your options open. Like me, for instance, I'll just give you an example. I play basketball, but I also was in a movie and commercials. Then I also, started with musical.
Tell us what movie.
Movie White Man Can't Jump To. Hey. Go tune in on Hulu. But also, I ended up partnering with somebody, my goddad now that adopted me. We partnered and made an AAU program for basketball kids now. And now we just got sponsored by New Balance.
That's amazing.
So, it's just different stuff like that where if you put the work into it nowadays, I feel like it's way more easier than you just looking like, all right, let me put something Let me hope put something out in the air. Let me try to manifest it and hope it comes to me. Like,
Well, where did you get that work ethic from?
You know, I got it from just, you know, me being from the foster care program and me growing up, you know, just with my siblings. You know, I have 2 younger sisters and I have an older brother. You know, I got it from probably my brother, I think for sure, because my brother, I'll give you his story right now. His name Anthony Scott. You know, I don't know if some of you guys know him, but he started off quarterback in high school, probably getting like 4 or 5 D1 offers, finna be the first generation college student. Tore his ACL his senior year. And he would never came back from it. So then he had to figure out, how am I going to do school now? So then he went to school, and I'm just watching him while I'm in high school, like, dang, like, I'm playing basketball, I'm getting better, but like, my brother was just finna go to college, and now, thank God, this year he is graduating from college. He's finna be the first generation college student for our family.
That's awesome. Bro.
But just seeing him go through everything and seeing him depressed about different things, just looking at him like, dang, like, my life could change in 2 seconds. It just pushed me to just be harder, because, you know, seeing my little sisters now, they, you know, being little sisters, they gonna ask for stuff. You know, they gonna ask for stuff, and just being me, like being a kid at a young age, you know, I got my license at 18. I went to college as soon as I got out of high school. I just started figuring stuff out. You just gotta be able to just know, like, I got God on my side, and as long as I keep my head focused, like, you can make it. And I feel like sometimes people get closer there, and they get so broken down where it's just like, sometimes it's like, dang, like, I don't think I'm going to make it. How am I going to provide for my family? How can I have that American dream if all this stuff bad is going wrong? I just feel like every time you finna fail, you're always right there. You know, everybody's get put through obstacles to just make yourself better. And I feel like if you just break down with the obstacles, you're not as good as the homeless man sitting on the street. Because, you know, he probably was at the same place as you. Like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Something went wrong, and now he ain't got no money in his pocket because he failed. He ain't work it out. He ain't try to focus. But I feel like as long as you just keep that mindset, and that's what I like to instill into the younger people, which is why I'm glad I have an AAU program with basketball and everything, which now I could go out and teach them, like, y'all, like, it's more opportunity out in the world than to just pick up a ball and dribble every day. Because at the end of the day, the ball going to have to stop bouncing. And what you going to do after that? If you're not in the NBA making $1 million, or you're not overseas making 6 figures, and you're trying to play at, I'm going to try to walk on a G League team making 30,000, 40,000. You know, it's billions of people in the world. They're coming from overseas now. People are literally coming to America for that American dream because they want to live it.
Right.
And if you're not going to work as hard as somebody that has $0 in their pocket, come from no family overseas, that's coming over here to throw their whole life into try to work, and you're just thinking it's going to come to you, then you're going to fail.
I'm impressed by you, Malachi. Just want to say that.
Yeah, I like that.
You're not very
you're not true Gen Z
Z at all.
Darn.
I'm speaking for
He's Benjamin Button.
Stand up, man.
He's Benjamin Button.
I'm going to speak for Gen Z in the sense that I think Gen Z is the generation of, like, the realist. And it's like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm going to college. I'm even staying for the master's. I'm paying my student loans. I did all the internships. I got involved in school, and I still don't have a job. Or I have to go do a job that is below my credentials because I went and did all these internships and did all this.
That was me.
And it's like,
that was me. So that's a
right.
shared experience between.
Yeah, and it's like, what's your work ethic? But it's like, what am I working for? Yeah. I can't get a house with my $50,000 a year. When in the 70s they could totally get a house, or a condo, a condo even. And it's like, oh, with my $50,000, like, okay, what can I get? I can get a used car from 2015.
So it's the frustrations, because a lot of people complain that in the workplace, once they get in the workplace, they don't want to work.
Yeah, and I feel like that social media has a big impact on that.
Well, let's talk about it, because our next topic is social media. So
let's
just dive on in.
I agree with that 100%.
I think though that, like, I'm gonna be so honest that, like, the 8 hours a day working, especially if you're at a corporate job, you're not working 8 hours a day. Especially if you're entry level, but that's just being realistic. It's like, I actually, because what? You go to the office. Say you go to the office. You get to the office at 10. You make your coffee. You say hi to everybody. It's 11 o'clock. You have 2 meetings probably from 11 to 2. You go to lunch. Then you finally get to sit down and actually work on what you're supposed to work on. And by 3 o'clock, somebody's calling you to do something else. Somebody's calling you for another meeting. Mm-hmm. And you've actually only sat there and worked for like 4 out of 8 hours of that day.
Yeah.
And like, that is the realistic structure. Like,
agree.
I don't think like, unless you are in a very demanding profession, like being a doctor, a nurse, a physical therapist, maybe an accountant, a banker, something like that, that is like, there's people constantly coming to you. Like, in the corporate structure, you are realistically not working 8 hours a day.
But I think that's the difference too, is that if I'm not being given tasks 8 hours a day, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to find ways to make myself valuable or invaluable
Work ethic
during that time. Work ethic.
And I think like Melanie and I have a different take than you guys, because like I agree with what you're saying. I think. What do you guys call it? Say it again.
Yeah, 3
Come
times.
on, man. Gen Z.
Gen Z. Okay. Gen Z. Okay. Me personally, I think that, like what you said, it's like a 50-50 type of thing. Like, you see some Gen Zs that have phenomenal work ethic, and then some are just like,
get too comfortable.
Yeah, they're too comfortable, or they're just like, they expect a lot of things. You know, like, I expect this to happen. And like you said with the whole social media thing, I agree with you 100%.
Let's hop into that topic right
Let's
now.
hop in. What has been the impact of social media on the American?
I mean, you can go first.
Yeah, I think you could. I think exactly, like, tying everything in. I think the impact of social media on the American dream has falsified a lot of people's visions.
1000%.
Where you go on social media, right, and you see the dude's like, yeah, I'm 21 and I just made $5 million, and you like, bro, okay,
what am I doing wrong?
You know what I'm saying? Like, but then people start to subconsciously think like, okay, what am I doing wrong? You know, I'm behind the 8 ball, which is not true, because everybody's timing is different.
Everybody got their own path, man.
Everybody has their own path, and not everybody tells a true story. Like, okay, we talking about rap.
I get into that as soon as
Bro,
you do
like,
that.
we talking about rappers, right? Like, okay, most rappers are not rich.
No, they're not.
Most rappers are not rich.
Speak on it then.
So like, the chains and all that stuff is just given to them, right?
Breaking news.
Breaking news for the people out there. Because
you can rent a chain.
You can rent chains, cars, and in real estate, like, you can't hide nothing from us. We know who got money.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
like,
funny.
like we know who really is rich or not.
That's hilarious.
You know, like, you can't say, I want this $8 million house, and then you got 11,000. Like,
man.
bro,
Yeah,
come on.
Credit
that
score,
debt to
have
income
credit
You
score.
know what I'm saying?
ratio,
It's not
you know what I
working.
mean?
Have a 640
You know
credit
what I'm
score,
saying?
then
And like,
you
people don't
just,
understand. Like, if I sign to you right now, right, and then you say, okay, you owe me 8 albums, I'm gonna let you wear my chain, live in my $8 million penthouse, drive my Maybach, but if you don't, you know, fulfill your task, then all this stuff is mine. So I think the falsification is crazy. Like, and there's a lot of people that, you know, no dissing nobody, but if they inherited something, right,
1,000%.
and they're driving a Lamborghini, they got to give you the full story. And I feel like most people don't. They don't give you the full story. And the work ethic definitely has to be worked on. Like Melanie said, right? I think being able to climb the corporate ladder is being valuable, establishing value, and letting people know that you want to be valuable. Like, okay, if I own a Fortune 500 company and I hire you to, right, and then you go to work and you're like, I'm working 8 hours a day, and then that's it, and you're like, well, I'm not really working 8 hours a day. But then you come up to me and you say, hey, Christian, like, you know, I would like more responsibility, or how could I help? How could I climb the ladder? How could I be involved? And then it's like, okay, well, I don't think you should get paid $50,000. Maybe you should be getting paid $200,000.
Yeah, but
because you're more
Or I
valuable.
took initiative and brought something to you.
You know what I'm
you
saying?
have to work your
Yeah.
work, though.
This
And
is
then
just
I
me
feel
playing
like,
devil's advocate.
yeah, and not to cut you off real quick. I think a little bit. That's where the entitlement comes in. It's like, well, I show up every day, I show up early, and I do my work. Well, like, it's not that you shouldn't be rewarded for that, but it's like you didn't do anything. And I'm not singling you out. I'm just speaking in general.
Are you worth it?
Like you didn't do anything above and beyond. Really, you did what I hired these 10 people to do, and all 10 of y'all do it the same. Like, who stands out? Like you said in basketball, right? The only person who's gonna make it is who stands out, and that's why I love business, because business is war. Just like you know, you know, being an NBA player or a football player. Patrick Mahomes didn't get paid $500 million because he was just good at throwing the ball. Like, he's great at throwing the ball. And what you said earlier, this is my opinion. I think everybody should have one thing that they do phenomenal before you start to diversify. I think people fail because they try to do 10 things at once. Like, you don't get rich by doing 10 things. You got to put 10,000 hours. So if I make $7 million in a year selling real estate, and then I buy 50 houses, and then I invest in Melanie's company. She wants to start a candle company. I invest 300,000, and then she make 10 million, and then I invest in it. Then you have the means to do that.
Let me come back with a question for you.
Okay.
Imagine I'm doing everything I do in this one thing, taking it all pushing the 10 hours, doing all that.
Yeah.
But I ain't got no rewards yet. When do you know when to stop?
Hold up. When do you expect the rewards? That's the question, though.
Well, I put it in perspective of what he's saying.
That's a good question, though. It's a good question because I think most people quit way too early.
That's what I said. When do you expect the rewards?
Most people will do something. I mean, if you even look at the most successful people, they'll say, "Man, it took me 10 years, 12 years."
Oh my God.
And if you are not willing to do that, then I don't think you should start. But what you have going for yourself, you have multiple things going. But I think that they can be intertwined, if that makes sense. So like you playing basketball, and having an AA, like all that makes sense. It's
because all basketball.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying you should limit yourself, but if you're like, okay, I want to be the best AAU coach, the best contractor in the world, the best doctor, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, see, and I understand where you're coming from that because, I went through I quit basketball. I'll give y'all a little bit of my story, but when I got the acting jobs and I wanted to quit basketball. Like,
okay.
I have a friend. I ain't gonna say his name, but I was finna go with him to Australia because he's going to the league. Okay. I was finna go with him to a different country because I didn't believe in myself in basketball. And I was getting the acting money, and I'm like, man, acting is what I want. Because I only started playing basketball my junior year of high school, and I was like, all right, I only played 2 years. I got the offers, but now I'm acting, and now this is doing good. So I feel like that's what a lot of guys figure out. But I got a question for y'all as well. If I'm doing something this and I put them all into this, man, mind you, if I play basketball for 20 years and I'm gonna put them all into this, but I get a big opportunity of like, you gotta quit. If you quit basketball, do this. What would you do? Like, would I keep pushing what I got to? Yeah. Or, a lot of things that God says in the Bible, you can't block your blessings. So what would you do? I think that was one thing with me. I was like, I'm playing basketball and I'm doing all this, but man, they just offered me a deal for 3 commercials in a movie. All right, let me hop into this. But dang, now I miss basketball.
But I think that's where we go back is like the diversification type of thing. And at the same time, it's like, are you playing basketball because you absolutely love it, or is it a hobby for you? Because at the end of the day, it's like everybody has hobbies. Yeah. But if you get into movies, into acting, and now your heart's in that, that's what you were designed to do. You just grew up playing basketball, but you weren't destined to be a basketball player. And not taking nothing away from you. 1,000%. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, I think God said, okay, you had your fun. Now this is your true calling. And then now you put your time into what you're designed for. I think people get like quitting confused with like revamping. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has to reconstruct their plan at some point in time.
Yeah, and that jumping off that, I'll just say, it's just based off what your story is and what your journey is. Cause I played football since I was 5. Okay. And I stopped my sophomore year because I got a bigger opportunity with basketball.
Got it. Okay.
And then now I play basketball 2-3 years, and I got all these scholarships. Then acting comes into play. So that's when I feel like, it's just your journey. You got to figure out, like, all these stuff getting thrown at me. What am I going to do?
Right. I think you're just taking your path, like what's presented to you and what's given to you, and then. But it's working out, so you're doing fine.
Yeah, but that's when for like kids out there though. Like, what if a kid is out there, they're getting all these opportunities, but what if nothing is working for them? What advice would y'all have to kids like that?
I mean, I think it goes back to what he was saying. Like, focus on the thing that you feel called to do, right? The thing that puts you most in your element, the thing that makes you more fulfilled. Actually, that's what I meant to talk about when we were talking about success. Okay. I feel like generations now seek fulfillment over money and financial stability. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that if you're going to spend how many years of your life working, then, you might as well choose something that's going to give you a little fulfillment. But if you're doing what you're designed to do, the money's going to come anyway.
Right. I agree with you.
And I think that's where the work ethic thing comes in. And, like, back to me being devil's advocate, is if I in this day and age, it is like you have to just get a job. I know plenty of people like out of college that didn't get the job in the field that they wanted, but they had to take it.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the end of the day, I think because there's so many opportunities, it's like, I'm not going above and beyond. I don't even like it here. Why would I go above and beyond?
Yeah.
And you're not even paying me you're not even paying me like to live comfortably. I am surely not going to be above.
But then
and beyond.
also don't complain when you don't get the raise or when you don't get what the
Well, no,
next
but
like,
I,
you know.
No, but I don't think that anybody's complaining that they don't get the raise. It's just like I think that they're just accepting like this is the situation that I'm in, and like I'm gonna go seek when I like get what I need out of this, like by just doing what I need to do. Like I'm gonna pivot and go to what I'm gonna try to use this experience to go do whatever I want.
Yeah,
to
but
do.
and this is the last thing I'm saying because we do have to wrap up. That's exactly what I'm getting at as well, though. But on the other side, though, even if I want to use this and leverage it or whatever the case may be, I still would have needed to stand out. Maybe I can get a letter of recommendation out of this. You know, maybe I can get some skills that are going to help me. Otherwise, I think what it is personal. I don't know if I want to call it pride, but
yes,
just
and that's
like,
what. That's what I
also
was
just
gonna
think
say.
anything I do, I want to do
Yeah.
it well.
But getting back
I
on
agree-
the topic
I
of
agree
the
with you.
social media, that's what I'm saying. Like, people look on social media so much for stuff nowadays. They're like, well, they're making this much money at this age. They're doing all this. Well, I want that. Why can't I live like that? I don't want to go work at a McDonald's. I don't want to try to strive and work this little job to try to get somewhere else because they're doing this at this age, and I want to do this. And I just think, getting back to the social media topic, like social media is a big factor, and I feel like that's why I stay off social media. Like, if I didn't have to get on social media to like promote my brand or to like promote myself as like different stuff I do or like promote my businesses, I would never be on social media. So I feel like social media corrupts the mind. Like,
yeah, it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
It's not real.
And it's a lot of
at
guys
all.
on there like
At all.
I know many people like some people I know. They get on there and fake it. They'll go in front of a nice house, make a video like, "Hey man, got this nice house right here," and they'll get many clients. And then all the clients to sign up, pay all this money, and won't make anything. Yeah. But now he's raising money, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Yeah. Like, but do your research on what you want to do. Yeah. Do your research on who you're working with, who you're working for. Right. And you have to be able to just strive. Yeah. And you have to be able to put your pride aside sometimes. You don't have to wear the nice designer clothes. You don't have to get the best shoes. You don't have to get the big old chains. You don't have to I want to live in this big old nice house right now. Right. Be able to live where you feel like you're fulfilled with your life. Be able to feel like you're loved by the people that you love. And I feel like as long as you feel like I'm fulfilled with myself and I'm doing the best I can and not, I think I'm doing the best I can. No, you have to know I'm putting my all into this. This is doing the best I can. And just, try to just live your life the best you can.
I also want to just shout out that the whole point of this is the Americanization of it all. Yeah. If you are not a hustler, and you don't want to do and you don't want to be the most, you don't want work to be your life, because that's realistically America. America is bottom of the list of happiest countries. No, there's plenty of countries that are happier because they don't prioritize work. Right. So if that is not your jam, take that. I'm just shouting out to everybody, take that step, take that leap of faith to literally move somewhere else. Do your research, move somewhere else, because at the end of the day, if you don't want to be a worker and a part of the American system, literally don't.
She trying to kick him out so she can get her 3.4 mil. She's trying to kick folks out. It's crazy.
But that makes sense.
Because at the end of the day, because I consider it too.
It's the American dream because it's the land of opportunity and you can achieve these things, and a lot of that is work related. But let's wrap up. We've been having a wonderful
I got one more thing to say.
Well, you can say it in our wrap up. You want to do that? Because this is the part where we go around and get some words of advice, insight, any final thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners. So why don't you go ahead and start, Malachi?
Since we had the main topic, American Dream, if you don't feel like you can live the American Dream, try to go somewhere else. I know that, honestly, I know there's a place in Sweden. I just searched up. I just found out a couple days ago or that they're paying you to go live there.
No, literally.
And with a free house and a free car.
No, I'm like, so
if
You looked into it?
Yeah, I look, man. And it's a nice place. They're paying you to go live somewhere. If you don't
Malachi
feel
gonna be in Sweden too.
Man, I see y'all in Sweden. They got beautiful
for real.
views.
No, for real.
But if stuff
because-
don't work out, man, but I would say, just back, if you want to live the American dream, put your all into it. Ain't nothing you could do with life. Life gonna give you trials and tribulations and all types of stuff, but you got to be able to try to work through it and just keep your mind right and set on your goal. That's all I got.
Thank you so much.
I like that. Can I say one thing?
No, you got
Is that cool?
This is your
Okay,
turn.
okay. All right, going back what you said real quick earlier. I think it's just like, okay, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So, and I think that it's kind of lost too. Like if you put your name on something, you just want to take it to the extreme level that you possibly can, even if somebody else is not willing to do that, just because it's a reflection of yourself. But with that being said, yeah, follow me on Instagram at Christian Pace. And if you're looking to buy any real estate in California
Social media.
or beyond, I would love to help you out.
Give your
So,
shout outs, give
I
your
should have
shout
said
outs.
your local real estate agent.
yeah, no worries. And I appreciate you guys for having me.
Oh, come on.
Well,
Hey,
we
hey.
appreciate you for being here. Kolbi-Rae, you got any final thoughts?
Don't let America get you down. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. There's that is really all I've got. It's just don't let it get you down. Do what you want. Work as hard as you want. Find out what comfortability means to you, because sometimes that doesn't mean not everybody needs 3.4 million. Everybody,
Depending on where you live.
right.
At
Yeah,
least
yeah.
strive
But-
for it.
Yeah.
It just like,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
if that's not what you want, then don't strive for it.
No, that's
If
good.
you want to live in a van, if you want to trick out a van and you want to just like ride around the country, work remote, and live like that, do that.
Live
If
off
you
the
want to
grid.
make that 3.5 million, then you're gonna have to work hard for it. If
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
want to make a cool 75, then you can work for that. Do comfortability, just what the article says and what everybody else says. Comfortability is at the end of the day like for you, and your version of comfortability is what you should strive for.
You make that 3.5 though, call me.
Nah, for
I'm
real.
gonna get you.
He
I'm gonna
gonna
get
sell
you.
you a house.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I don't even want no
Find a
house.
house
Give
for
me
you.
$5.
All
Now
right,
wait, can I
you
get my
guys.
shout outs real quick though?
Go ahead.
Hey man, shout out. Y'all want to follow me at the Malachi Scott, man. Make sure to tune in to White Man Can't Jump 2 on Hulu. Shout out to New Balance.
Wait,
if
two
y'all-
with Jack Harlow?
Yeah, Zach Harlow. That's my guy. Also, if y'all want to play some AAU basketball, we got girls and boys. Elevate Elite B-Ball. We sponsor with New Balance. Shout out to New Balance for the shoes and all the gear. Hey, man, if y'all ever need some advice or anything, feel free to just hit my DMs.
As you can see, he gives really great advice, way beyond his Gen Z years.
Shout out Gen Z. Shout out Gen Z.
Okay, and we want to give a shout out to you for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you coming back. We are on episode 6 now, and it's been going phenomenal thanks to the viewers. So, as usual, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If there's any topics you'd like us to cover, please do. Once again, you're watching Life Lessons on NCRF TV. I'm Melanie Eke,
And I'm Kolbi-Rae.
and we're out.